Welcome to episode 272 of the Emergent... Is it 272? 272 of the Emergent Gamer Podcast. I'm Felix Hergood. I'm here with Neo Ayoshi.
Hey, how you doing? It's Neo.
I'm here with Locke.
I don't know what's happening, but what's going on, everybody?
And then I'm here with Trip.
What's up, guys? It's Trip Zero. Whew, we did it.
It is
made
272, though,
intro.
right? It's 272?
It is 272.
You did it. You nailed it.
We're just back with another episode of the Emergent Gamer Podcast.
Back with another one, man.
What else is new?
I don't know, man.
Thanks, man. Well, thank you, Felix. I appreciate the...
So I think our broader discussion for later in the show is we're going to kind of dig into all these different streaming services that have popped up where you just play, you get a catalog of games and then you kind of play through them. And we're going to do a little bit of an overview, but then we're going to talk specifically more about Amazon's attempt at it, which is called Luna.
Right.
So that's the move this week. But what falls into this category is Amazon's Luna, Google Stadia. Is there another one?
Microsoft's xCloud.
Oh, Microsoft's xCloud, which is also going to be another one. So we're just going to go over that. Before we get into that, obviously we're going to go talk back and forth about our own shit and what we got going on and what we've been up to, games we played, things like that. But then we're going to get into talking a little bit more in depth because I don't know shit about Luna. I heard about Stadia. It completely didn't interest me, but I didn't even know Amazon was really into it. I heard Amazon was attempting it, but it was like a failure. Like they weren't doing well at it or something. Or did it not release? I have no idea. I know nothing. I know nothing.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
You may be talking about Crucible, which was a failure, and they pulled it and then canceled it.
Oh,
yeah.
I might be talking about just that
Amazon game
yeah.
knowledge. It's just Crucible. I had no idea about Luna.
Which is so fucking sad on its own right.
It's really sad.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about I've tried Stadia personally, so I could share my experiences with Stadia as well when they had their free trial. So yeah, we'll go in depth, but yeah, like Felix mentioned, we're gonna start with what we've been up to.
Neo, I know you have something very important you wanted to give your experience on, something that you finally got installed. Right?
Yes, the wait is over.
So tell us a little bit about that.
3 grueling weeks. Yeah, 3 grueling weeks of trying to nail one of these RTX 3080 cards.
My first question is, how the fuck did you finally get one?
Okay, so I actually managed to get 2 in the end.
So you're getting greedy now in your old age.
No, I actually sold one to our friend Puck. I already shipped it out this week, so it's on the way to Puck. I did not scalp it. I wasn't gonna be that asshole, but I could have done it. So he's got that coming his way. But I did keep that was an MSI card, so I managed to nail on Newegg the MSI card. Very lucky refreshing that page and getting to the card. Also on the Nvidia site, right before they pulled this week. This is the news for Nvidia this week. They pulled their store offline, and the only way to get a Founders Edition card now is through Best Buy. So if you want to get one, good luck on Best Buy site. So I'm very fortunate to have copped one of those before they did that. Yeah, all these this experience has taught me how awful a lot of online stores are, especially when they're getting hammered with a high demand product. But I did manage to get it. I got it in my machine right now, and over the weekend I've been installing and playing a lot of games, including Death Stranding. I reinstalled on PC, and wow, going from PS4 to PC with the dial turned all the way up using DLSS.
It looks beautiful.
I bet, yeah.
Dude, I'm taking screenshots like every second because each one of these could be a good wallpaper. Like you want good wallpapers? Death Stranding's a good game for that. Some things I'm like noticing on revisiting the game. First off, the game is great. Like I know it got a lot of back and forth, and there was a lot of camps on whether this is a good game or not, but the game is a relaxing, overwhelmingly positive experience. And I was actually telling Felix about this before the show. Despite the nature of the game being in this post-apocalyptic dour setting and everything's trying to kill you and all that stuff, the game's message is overwhelmingly positive. Everyone you encounter, everyone who you talk to is keep up the good work, Sam. Everyone is saying only you can reconnect the world, and you're the one saving America. And it's just it's actually a really kind of a pleasurable experience when everyone's just like really happy to see you after you've just taken on this long, arduous journey across this like dangerous wasteland. And it's honestly like all Sunday, that's like what I did. Like I just delivered packages and built out roads. Like it was a great time. Definitely recommend going back to that game. Yeah.
Kojima did a lot to push the concept of like this world isn't just a narrative for. He's making a single player game, but all of the people who are playing as the different Sams or whatever, Sam, is that his name, are all pushing forward the same narrative. You know, it's all together. The same narrative together.
You're alone but together. Yeah, and the game reminds you. The game constantly reminds you that you're not alone out there, which is again another form of positivity that is hoisted on you. I guess it's like a common theme that I've noticed like over the weekend, like just revisiting the game. A few other games that I've been playing. We've been playing Modern Warfare, still a lot of Warzone. Dude, cranking that game's graphics up and having it run over like 100 frames a second. The game is smooth as butter now, and it feels great, aside from like server ticks. But my computer used to struggle like holding 60 frames with my 980 Ti, and that's been a really great time. I reinstalled Destiny 2. I played a little bit of that today, just running around seeing what I like how the environments look, shooting stuff. I installed Rise of the Tomb Raider, which is a game that a lot of people use as like a benchmark. Also a game that I haven't finished yet. So I'm actually going to try and see if I can beat that game before I guess Cyberpunk is the next big release we're still waiting on. But again, game runs great. Like everything has been just having the new 3080 has just been a great experience with like any game that struggled on my machine.
Did you
play Valorant last night? So Control is the one problem that I'm still having. I haven't tried it revisited since last week, but it keeps crashing. When you run it under DirectX 12, which is the only way to get the RTX features to turn on, which are the shadow and light features. For anyone who doesn't know, that's the technology that has like dynamic lighting and like the perfect reflections and all that cool stuff. It crashes after 30 minutes, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. Fast traveling to certain locations, it just crashes on fast travel. Like, I don't know if I can. I wanted to play the DLC for that. Like, I finished the game, but I haven't played the extra content yet.
This is happening before your new card was in?
No, this is
a new card issue.
A new card issue. But if I run it at DirectX 11, it's when you run it, because you get a choice when you start the game up. DirectX 11 start or DirectX 12 start. And if DirectX 12 apparently, from what I've seen on the internet, has a lot of problems. I don't know if it's specific to the card. Can't say for certain. It might just be a control problem with DirectX 12. And plus me cranking the graphics all the way up and turning on all the RTX stuff and all that stuff. So I honestly don't know. But the game's gorgeous when it's running. Like, it runs smooth, and then you get all the reflections. Like, it's a beautiful game. Like, it's definitely one of the best looking RTX examples out there right now. Funny enough, Modern Warfare has RTX implementation, which I turned on. The one thing I noticed from that is when you see like fire, it looks real. It looks really good, and the lighting from the fire bounces off of the surfaces that it's looking at in a very cool way. It just looks good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, that's all I've been playing. One more thing. I'm still also crushing through Bloodborne, and holy shit, it's a good game, but it runs like complete ass. The game
it does.
Barely hits 30 frames a second.
Yeah, I couldn't play it. I literally couldn't play it because of how bad it was. Like, our good friend Peanut had Felix and I try and play that game. And I think Peanut actually bought me Bloodborne when it was on sale.
Yeah, he bought it for me too.
It was like I know he's a big fan of that game.
It was super cheap, and like regardless, thank you again, Peanut. But yeah, I couldn't. It was so clunky, man, and not just because of the style of game. I think the style of game hurts it even worse because of how like clunky the combat can be. It is not a well optimized game. Like that game remastered on PC would be amazing. It really would be.
Oh my god, hands down.
So yeah, that was a game that I struggled and I tried to go back into multiple times and just got frustrated with the experience.
For the record, obviously, I did not quit that game because of like the performance of the game. I quit it because it like made me want to like put my head in a vice and just turn it and turn it and turn it and turn it.
That's the nature of those games.
That's the point of the game. Yeah.
I don't hate it for that though.
Yeah.
I don't like it's not like other games where I think it's bad development and then it's just a broke game that sucks or whatever. That never came out of my mouth. I don't believe. Well, probably came out of my mouth, but not. That was ill intent because like I think the way the game is developed is smart in the sense that the deaths that you do over and over again teach you the game.
Right.
It's a teaching tool. And after a while, I didn't resent it for that. I was like, this is a part of the mechanic. This is how it works.
Honestly, the best compliment I can give Bloodborne is its level design. Mm-hmm. It is the best way of designing a forward progression, but like last when I was playing it like on Monday with my buddy, we're really deep in the game right now. We're like really deep in it, and we saw a secret passageway, and it kind of winded around, and there were these really tough enemies there. Got through that, climbed a big ladder, and it took you to the beginning of the game. We're like really deep in it now, and like we've been progressing for a while, and this secret passageway actually brings you right back to the beginning in the clinic, where you start the game, and it actually opens up another side area with more bosses and more.
I don't know if I got
that
far. I probably didn't.
I was shocked. No, probably not. This is like way deep in the game at this point. But
the last boss I fought
always does this.
The last boss I fought was the blood one, like blood something in a church.
That's really early. Yeah,
that's like a blood witch or something. I was at Jesum Crow's actually playing blood.
Yeah.
I've caught a few of his streams, and the last stream I caught, he was fighting that boss.
I was trying to fight that boss, and that was where I think I beat the boss.
Fairly early.
But my heart was racing so hard that I basically was like, if I continue playing to whatever's after this boss, I'm probably not going to survive it. So I'm not going to play this game anymore.
Yeah,
it's
I got the
been
first
really
one.
easy.
I may go
the
back.
one on a bridge. That's as far as I got. But I remember that being a wild experience.
Yeah, the cleric beast. I think that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's actually been really easy because I've been playing with my buddy Eric, and you can summon your friends into your own game, right? And once you beat the area, it locks you out and it sends them back home, and then you can do the reverse. So then I just go in his game, play that same segment again. We're getting pretty strong doing it because we're literally playing through the same area twice. And it's actually making the game a lot easier. Still difficult. You can still get surrounded and like killed pretty easily.
So your enemy's still leveling up as you go. Your character is still leveling up when you go to his world and vice versa.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, so we're like kind of like a step above the second run through. We're a step above the level, right, with our skills and progression. But yeah, I have an article here that I wanted to point out. A Bloodborne modder plans to release a 60 frame per second hack, but it's waiting to see if Sony's going to upgrade it for the PS5. So I'd honestly be really curious because a lot of these old games are going to get like a game boost on the PlayStation 5, like an improvement. The game chugs in so many locations and so many spots, like all the time. If they can do this,
like we're talking sub 30 frames.
We're talking like 10 frames a second.
It gets
just
bad.
Running through certain areas.
I must have not remembered that because I only played about 3 hours, but it was like at a friend's house. The TV was super far away. I wasn't super invested, and that's all that I played. I didn't really like commit to.
Yeah, I mean, even in the initial areas, it's bad too. Like even getting to that first boss, like you experience it.
Yeah.
And you think that's noticeable on console as well? Probably.
Well, it's only
on
PS4.
Oh, that's what you're playing it on?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I thought that's what you have to play it on.
Okay,
got
choice. I thought he was playing on PC. That's why I was getting.
Yeah, I mean, if they made a PC version, I'm sure you could fucking tweak it to where it would run beautifully, even if it was poorly optimized. But
people have modded Dark Souls to run at higher frame rates, so it would definitely be possible. Like even if the game didn't come with those settings. Also, the graphics are a little bit muddy in places. They are just because of the age, you know.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I do want to finish it because Demon Souls, the remake of that looks fantastic. It looks absolutely incredible, and I would love to beat this before jumping into that when the it's my ultimate goal. there.
Nice.
But yeah, who's next? Who wants to talk?
I mean,
I got nothing going on this week, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I was going to quickly say is the new act for Valorant has come out. So we just dove into Valorant again for the first time last night. And I'll probably spend a significant amount of time inside of Valorant this season. So the way Valorant does their battle pass is they do acts instead of calling them seasons, they call them acts. So we're on Act 3, and they're making some changes to the battle pass. There's more content in the battle pass. We just got a new map, new character comes out in a couple of weeks. What
do you think of the new map?
Were you in the game with us? Yeah, you. It was me, you, and Jed, Jed, right? So I absolutely hated it on defense. I didn't enjoy it like one bit on defense at all. On offense, it was very fun. So it's definitely a terrorist-sided map. But yeah, I mean, I think I just need more time with it. It's completely different than any other map they've created, which is a good thing. It's good that they're trying something new. So I'm excited to play it more. I had a blast last night. Yeah, so that's probably all I'll be playing. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, I posted your quad kill.
I did. I watched it right
Twitter.
before we
Actually,
went.
I should have put it in the Valorant chat.
Yeah, I saw it right before we went live. I forgot to bring it up. But my friend, actually,
yes,
5 kills.
I didn't see the ace.
Dude, it's okay, man. I appreciate you shouting me out and clipping me.
Oh.
But yes, it
was.
Dude,
I was trying to clip as many good plays as much last night.
Yeah, it was good. It was a nice tweet. It was good seeing your double, with the sheriff, and then what did you have? You had Nimbus in there too. Yeah, it was good. It was a good session, man. The problem with Valorant, the one critique that I'll have is like the amount of time you need to invest in playing even just a handful of games. I mean, 2 to 3 games can take you anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. So it's quite the investment for sure. Which is why I'm glad to see that they're making some adjustments to XP and the challenges that you can complete to get bonus XP. So hopefully this season's less of a grind. Playing the beta and Act 1 essentially daily really burnt me out on the game. So I'm actually glad that we mostly all of us, I think every single one of us took a break during Act 2 for the most part. We played here and there. So I'm going in pretty fresh for this new season. So I'm excited for sure.
I'm looking to get back into it.
Yeah, for sure. Felix, what do you got? Trip said he didn't have anything.
Felix. I got nothing. Let's hear you, Felix.
Trip, you literally don't have any commentary on the new Destiny shit that just came out? Nothing?
Well, I mean, the only Destiny shit is the Festival of the Lost, which is the Halloween event. And there wasn't even supposed to be the way it was this year, because where the event was supposed to be gone by September because they pushed the expansion back. So it was just like a scramble last minute kind of like, here's some fun extra shit to do. It's all right. It's something for people to do if they need, some materials or get cool guns. They give you another pinnacle, which is nice if you're still making the climb, like I am on some characters, but just something else to shoot. The real focus is prepping for November 10th. So
God bless you, man.
If you're just doing a light grind is what you're doing.
Yeah. It's not too bad actually, because I'm like, the big prep point is like saving bounties to just pop them all day one. It's still the way it is, at least until Bungie says otherwise, which people are hoping that they kind of give some guidance in the next couple of weeks because they haven't said a thing about if economies are changing or even when the raid is. But if bounty saving is the thing you prep, it's easy just to click heads while I'm working. That's literally it. So, but other than that, nothing is new and exciting. Not until November.
I was just wondering.
Yeah.
Locke, I voted by mail.
You voted by mail?
Yeah. I know it's not game
Good for you, dude.
related.
That's a great update.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a great update.
I voted by mail.
Yeah, sorry, we're going to say.
I didn't even know that I checked that I wanted to vote by mail. I guess when I was filling out my primary shit, it said, do you want to vote for mail for the national election?
For the election.
And I must have checked the box, yes. And then I got the package because Mrs. Felix didn't get the package.
Did you make sure that you did it correctly?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I followed all the directions in the thing. And then I went down to one of the local spots that they had. That, we went online and found the local spots, and they had a guy. He's managing the little box that you put it into, and
Right.
it was a pretty easy
Yeah,
process.
I only ask because John Oliver's one of his episodes, he shared how many mail-in ballots were null and void from the primary and how many were from the prior election, and it's like hundreds of thousands of people that don't fill it out right, and that you don't.
Unfortunately, in the state of Pennsylvania, I won't know if my vote's been counted until the day of the election because Pennsylvania can't count them until the day of the election. But I did. There is a link that you can go to see if it was received, and it told me that it was received. So
Got it.
I don't know if received means it counts. That doesn't mean the same thing. I won't know if I did everything right until probably the day of the election when I can recheck the website and see if my vote was counted. But I'm pretty sure I filled everything out correctly.
Right.
The only,
I
was just going to say the only thing I had a question on, which didn't make any sense, and I also noticed that someone else in line didn't do it either. On the outside envelope, it's important to sign your own name and with your own signature, the one that's very similar to your license, and put all your information. There is a box for that, and I filled all that out because it's the thing. But in terms of a return address, like I didn't do it, the guy in front of me in line didn't do it. We don't know if that even matters. Like I don't know if it matters. I couldn't find on their website where it said whether it matters. I wasn't mailing, right? I was dropping off, so I didn't think it matters. But it's not related to the voting process, so I don't know why it would matter. But anyone listening right now, send me a tweet on Twitter or whatever if you think that mattered. But I don't know. I didn't fill that out. So
good for you. Good for democracy.
We'll find out. We'll find out if everything works.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like, I have to, like, for my own peace of mind, need to go and vote in person.
Physically? Yeah,
I think.
Like we talked a lot about it, my wife and I, because there's obviously it's all unsettling trying to go to vote now with everything that's happening. But our experience in the primary wasn't awful. Like a lot of our polling places, closed down, so I actually had to go vote somewhere different, which is actually closer to my house.
Same for me. They consolidated places into a larger one.
And my new one is actually like walkable, which is weird that it wasn't always my place, but that's neither here nor there. And it was fine for the primary. We literally walked in and walked out. So I don't think we're going to see the things that places in like Georgia and whatnot, people waiting, 6 to 12 hours to vote. But doing the mail-in thing is definitely a good idea for a lot of reasons. So so we'll see what happens on election day, man. We'll see what
I have a lot of weird trust issues with the post office since this whole debacle this year.
Well, that's why if you do the drop off,
this is why I didn't put it in the mail, because I wasn't trustworthy of the mail service.
But I'm with you. I'm with you, Neo. I wouldn't put it in the mail either.
There's also early voting at a lot of locations, depending on where you vote, all throughout. Starting now, a lot of places have already ramped this up, so that's an option for people as well to get them there before the 3rd.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I didn't mean to tangent the show there, but I just wanted to mention.
No, it's a good thing.
It's important. Yeah.
In terms of gaming, I'm about ready to 100% complete the Mafia Definitive Edition re-release. So
nice.
I have one final trophy that I couldn't solve a mystery on. So if there's anyone listening to the show right now who knows why this is a lore-friendly thing, there's the last collectible is 50 little like taxidermied foxes that are around the entire world, 50 of them, and they're brown, and they blend in with the goddamn brick walls of the time period because it's like 1930s, and I can't find these fucking things anywhere, so I have to use a guide online. But why would you put something completely unrelated to Mafia anything in this fucking game for people to collect? Like, there's a shit ton of collectibles that are like magazines that are like Gangster Monthly, and like all this shit makes sense. But
Gangster Monthly.
If I'm going to rail about anything this week, it's this goddamn collectible, because it makes no sense. It's a stupid taxidermied fox. I thought maybe
box. What is that?
Taxidermy fox.
like
Oh,
a fox, like a.
Oh.
But don't you think like
Okay.
like rich people had money to spend? They spent it on taxidermy. Maybe there's a link there, or
in the 30s, yeah,
The hobby.
that was the thing.
One of them options. as
yeah,
a
like
hobby,
what do you
maybe.
know what people did in the fucking 30s with their money, bro?
It looks like I have to read the lore on the wiki page to find out why this is a thing. They're called mystery foxes. That's what they're called. And it's
Sounds
such
like you
a
better
non
fucking start digging, bro.
It's such a non sequitur. I'm just like, ow, this hurts my brain.
Well, you're the one that feels the need to 100% this fucking game. You could just stop.
My brain is broken. I mean,
I mean, you literally could just forget that it exists and be 99% complete. Right, exactly. So there we are.
yeah, so
Here
we're
we
doing
are,
it.
dude.
We're gonna do it. Yeah, little taxidermied foxes. The mystery foxes. We're gonna find them.
I'm sure with minimal amount of googling, we could figure out why it exists.
I get 25 of them because they're all in concentric area of the map. So I did 25 of them in fucking an hour and a half. So, and there's only 50. So I'll get the rest. I'm gonna hunt those.
I'm sure you
hunt those
will,
bitches
man.
down, and I'll find them all. So
I'm sure you will.
It'll be great. It won't be like the 100 flags in Assassin's Creed, the first game, where I
remember that.
I got
That was-
99 and I couldn't get the 100 flag because the game just broke. And you know, I've complained about the Mafia games on numerous occasions on this podcast, and
Yes, you have.
I'm retracting my own statement. This is a well-built.
Retraction.
Yeah, it's a retraction. This is a
Wow.
well-built game that I was able to get everything done, and there was no glitch trophies. There was no fucking weird shit. Oh, I will.
272, folks. Retraction from Felix.
Let me
Herman.
tell you the one.
Asterisk on the title.
So I'm driving.
Wow.
So with the Mafia re-release, you get a pack essentially of like cars because it comes with like the trilogy. They remastered all three of the games or whatever, and you get this specific car that comes from the third game. It's like kind of like a Chevy Malibu from like the early 70s. And you're driving this around, but I'm driving this now in the 1930s because it's like time travel. It's really cool. So I'm driving it around, and all of a sudden it starts sputtering, right? And you might have seen Trip my tweets about this when I started realizing this was a problem. I was like, God, man. So first thing in my head is this is a broke game. The fucking developers broke this game. They fucked it all up. The car's sputtering, right? So
Have that thought? No.
So I make a video of I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I tweet at the developers who don't respond, of course. Please don't. But I tweet at them and I go, this is broke shit. You know, what the hell? Da 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 da. You know. So then I it's still not fixing, and I jump to another story mode, and I try the same car. And it does the same thing. It like runs. It's sputtering. It's not going fast. I'm like, oh, how is this broke across all these game modes? I'm like, what the hell's going on? So then I try another car, and I get the same result after driving it around for a while. You know, I'm driving around to get collectibles, these stupid foxes and all that shit, right? So I'm driving around, and sure enough, it happens with that. I'm like, something's up. So I type in a Google search, car stalling glitch. Right? And then I get this wiki for Mafia. It says, if you feel that your car is stalling or glitching, you're wrong. It just ran out of gas. Did you notice that there are actually gas station icons all over the map? And I went, fuck. And then I recall this moment when I was playing Mafia 2 like years ago. You have to get gas for all the cars in these games. And I'd run out of gas. So it's actually...
Are you able to drive? Like, always? It just drives really
Yeah,
shittily?
it does this thing where it goes... And eventually it's just so slow. It just kind of... It doesn't run out of gas and stall. That would have, like, triggered in my head, oh, I probably need to get gas. But it never actually stopped. So it just seemed like a broken thing in the game. But as it turns out, there's just gas station icons all over the map, and you just got to get gas. So now, but the weirdest thing about it is, if your car runs out of gas, it's across all the game modes, because I guess it comes from like a garage pool of cars that you collect over time, and the gas applies to any game mode. It's weird, but yeah, it was great. I put gas in the car and proceeded to drive it around, and
Everything's fine.
everything was good.
What a concept.
Everything was good.
I'm only stealing cars in Watch Dogs 2, so they all have gas.
They all have gas. And the other thing I kept doing...
I leave it there and I'm done.
So I would leave the car that I had, and I would go right back to the garage and get a new version of the car. If that car was broken, the new one I pull out would be fixed. It just wouldn't have a full tank. So I kept pulling these cars out, and I'm like, what the... If I was doing this live on my stream, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why do I keep only cars out there are fucking out of gas. Like, but yeah, you got to just go to the gas pump and put it in. So stupid.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
I love it.
I didn't mean to tangent, but there it is. That's my week.
That's a great tangent.
It's a good week.
That's a good ass week, Felix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hit some cloud gaming.
Heck yeah.
So we wanted to first touch on the news itself about Amazon Luna, because it does sound like if you're like any of us, you might have just simply not seen that this was announced.
Very much like me. Yeah.
And
had
we
no
didn't,
idea.
and we didn't cover it. So if you get your gaming news from us, you don't know that this exists yet. So so 3 weeks ago at this point, end of September, Amazon officially announced their AWS, their web platform for gaming, called Amazon Luna. We don't know when it is going to come out yet. You can sign up to be early access, which I did do right after it came out. It's a quick questionnaire, asks you about like what type of games you like to play, what gaming means to you, and then it asks you about your internet connection. And I would assume they're trying to test it on a variety of different internet connections, since stable, fast internet is the name of the game for this. So we'll see if I get access to it. I'm hoping I do, so I get to try it out. But the introductory price for the service will be $5.99 a month, plus the need to buy a controller, which costs $49.99, I believe. And that controller looks just like an Xbox controller that you've seen, or a Stadia controller. You can.
It does say you can use. It does say you can use a Bluetooth controller if you have one, like an existing one,
as well as keyboard and mouse on PC. So you have the option for keyboard and mouse as well. So realistically, you don't need to do the controller route if you have something already. So you would only be into it for the monthly subscription of that $5.99. With that subscription, you have the ability to play 4K, 60 FPS on 2 devices simultaneously. So you are limited there. Your 4K 60 frames per second is going to depend solely on your internet connectivity, right? So, we're going to get into it a little bit more with cloud gaming, but this is all done via streaming, right? So it's all based on your internet speeds. Just like you're able to watch 4K content in Netflix or some other streaming service, and sometimes you may see the quality change of the picture that you're watching live as you're watching it because your internet is going through the motions. Or right when you start a piece of 4K television or movie, it might look off, and then finally the video pops and it looks better. That's all your internet trying to compensate for streaming the increased fidelity and frames.
The one thing that cloud gaming has to overcome, Luna included, is the difference between like streaming movies and playing games are you are dictating the input of the game, and the game has to respond accordingly. And that's a huge thing that streaming games has to overcome, that latency between when you hit a button and then the reaction happens on screen.
Yep. So they're claiming 100 titles will be available at launch. Some quick ones to just call out: Resident Evil 7, Control, A Plague's Tale, Yooka-Laylee, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla will be on launch. Far Cry 6 will be on launch. So all these games will be available.
They have a partnership with
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, yeah.
Yep. And then there's also going to be Twitch integration with it. Surprise, surprise. As an Amazon product, you're going to be able to see live streams. If you're inside of the Luna app, you'd be able to see people that are playing the games that you're about to go play and watch them live. And you'd also be able to start playing directly from that Twitch stream if you decided to. So kind of, check out a streamer. Oh shit, I actually like this game. This game looks pretty cool. Let me boot it up and play it right now. You'd have the ability to switch between that pretty seamlessly. So this is a direct competitor against Google's existing platform Stadia and Microsoft's new platform xCloud. And right now, I mean, at least in its description, it's already looking pretty great in terms of its feature set compared to Google Stadia. I know Neo mentioned this earlier, probably pre-recording, but the way that Google Stadia functions is you pay to access the platform, but then you also purchase games.
Correct.
So in this is Luna is more aligned more with like a Netflix, where you pay our subscription fee and you get access to all the content that we have to offer, which is very, very different than, pay to get into our house and then pay to get into each store or each room of the house, right? So it's interesting to see Amazon taking this approach.
The thing that's super sketchy about Stadia is like, do we really own it, dudes? Like,
no.
Like if
you're talking.
You know
about
what I mean?
Stadia.
Like you're okay. You're giving me access to it, and then I get in there
you
and I have to pay for the thing, the game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And like if those developers yank it after I paid my $60, it's gone, right?
I would assume.
Or if Stadia closes down one day.
As far as I know, that's how it works with, like, let's say like a music streaming service. If the boss, says, fuck you, I'm pulling the Born to Run album or whatever. I can't remember if it was called that, but if I'm pulling that album off of Apple Music and Spotify and it's no longer going to be there anymore, then even if you bought it, it's gone. Like, it disappears if it's only on a streaming service.
Yeah, I mean, for this, for Stadia, I mean, if you don't pay to access the platform, you're not gonna be able to.
Right. Right. Well, that's the whole other thing. Like, yeah.
Yeah. What I need
access, but
what I need to clarify is there's Stadia Pro, and the Pro is a subscription, which is $10 a month. And that gives you free access to some titles. It gives you discounted access to some titles. What I don't know is what is included in the base version, if anything at all. I believe the base version is free, and then you would then have access to their store, which does change things a little bit. So we need to clarify that, because the Pro, you would absolutely lose access to the games that you got for free as a part of your subscription. But if you have a base account, you can go in and you can buy as many games. And as long as Stadia doesn't shut down, you still will keep those games because it's a free subscription. But should Stadia shut down, as a platform, you would have, you've essentially, if they don't return your money, which I wouldn't count on that. You've essentially, just burned a pile of money. But yeah, I mean, I tested Stadia. I used it back when I was still playing Destiny. And at the time I used it because Google was giving out free like 2-week trials for Stadia Pro. So I tried Stadia, and it was pretty cool to just launch it up in a web browser, right? Like, I had no issues streaming the game, playing it, in terms of
no lag or anything.
No, I mean, I have better internet than probably, the vast majority of people. So, I mean, it's, I'm a little bit of a different circumstance. And I was on my PC, so I was also on my Ethernet, so my connection was as perfect as it could be. So it's hard to gauge it versus like playing in my living room on my Wi-Fi. What would my experience been like?
You pay for do you pay for like a game, like the recommended by your provider, like game?
I pay for I pay for gigabit.
Gigabit, yeah. The one that's that's the one that's marketed as like a gaming recommended system. And with FiOS you get true gigabit, right? Like, I get 960 up and I get 960 down. Not over here with Comcast. Yeah,
right. Well, you ain't getting nothing.
They put all that money into that second building. They built a second building downtown.
Well, I don't know how you get. I had no idea how you get gigabit speeds on infrastructure that's been there for fucking 4 decades. So, anyway, my experience was not bad. The problem that I had with Stadia was the player base, right? So the way that Stadia functioned for the multiplayer in Destiny 2 was you had to play with Stadia people, and there was just nobody fucking playing. I sat and searched for over an hour and did not find a single multiplayer game. And I like literally had my browser open, was doing other things, and searched for an hour. And finally, at an hour, I was like, I'm going to give it up.
An hour is insane.
Yeah. It literally couldn't find a single fucking person. Like it would
10
go
minutes
to like,
would be insane.
it would go to like 3 people searching, and I'd be like, all right, cool. And then it would stay there for 20 minutes. And then those people would be like, well, fuck this. And then I would go back to 0 people, and then it would fluctuate, but we never found a game. But for a single player experience, my experience was fine. I mean, it ran great. But again, I think it's hard to gauge that versus like a living room experience over Wi-Fi.
Well, it seems like a nice proof of concept. You know,
Right.
like obviously the experience is inconsistent across a lot of people, depending on, you know, maybe there's a weird specific issue that day talking to Google, or their own internet, of course, not being able to handle it. So there's things to iron out. But I mean, if it works at all and with no perceptible lag, that's a win in a concept discussion. And that's probably what the future is going to be. Like, why would you own this shit if you could just literally have it accessible in a split second, you know? And it's going to play totally fine.
Yeah, and I mean, we already know that that's the model for other content, right? We do it now for literally all of our other media. You know, not everybody does. Like, there's still people that consume physical media. We know them, but you know, I think the vast majority of us, like, I don't buy stuff anymore. I have a subscription to fucking too many different providers now. Right. It's honestly getting sickening how many that I have, which is a whole other conversation.
And I'm thinking about like the Apple stuff coming up, and I'm like, I'm going to be subscribing for like workouts and for like, do I just do the news bundle? And like, and just, it's
endless.
No,
It's endless.
they announced that they're coming out with a one price bundle.
Yeah.
No, I know
For
that,
all
but
of
that's
it.
like part of like the judgment, you know, like I'm going to be paying for this. Then I got to look at HBO. We have to look at, you know, Disney Plus, and like, how does all this stuff kind of, you know, juggle in your digital streaming life?
Yeah, and like right now, on a tangent really quickly, right? Like my son, obviously, you know, here and there we let him watch TV, so we have Disney Plus, and I just signed up for Noggin, which is Nickelodeon, right? I got a one through Apple TV Plus. I got a 1 week free trial, and he gets access to like a ton of Nickelodeon stuff, right? Okay, and fuck, after the week I forgot, so I just got billed the $8 for Noggin. Probably will never remember that I have this subscription each month.
All those models are just
$8, right?
Yeah, it's people forgetting is the business model to get people to try a week trial.
And then what I saw, last piece, and then we can get back to gaming, I swear. Then I saw that there's a Nickelodeon Hits channel, which gives you things like Rocket Power, A Wild Thornberries, like all the classic Nick shows that I grew up watching, Angry Beavers, and I was like, well, duh, gotta watch this trial, right? So I signed up for that trial so I could watch me some Angry Beavers. And here we fucking go. This is the life now. I just sign up, and now I'm essentially at cable pricing now because I have so many fucking subscriptions that I've subscribed to.
Yeah.
That, like, you know.
Time is a flat circle, my friend. But
again, to your original point, why continue to buy games at $60 a pop if you can get access to all of them? It's the Game Pass conversation, right? If you're able to have a subscription, this is just putting that subscription in the cloud. So it's an interesting thing to see Amazon step into the ring, especially now since Google's been in it for so long. You know,
and there's a lot of incentive there for people who are Ubisoft fans to like go that route. You know?
Oh, sure.
Because
Sure.
they just get all the Ubisoft
So
games.
I'm looking at I'm looking at Stadia's game list too, and it actually does have a lot of Ubisoft games. It's going to have Assassin's Creed Valhalla coming out and the new Watch Dogs game. So that's good. And
But that's still
it's got
that's still the sales
129
model,
games
though.
right now.
That's the sales model, though, where you buy them.
What?
You buy them individually through. Steam.
Correct. Yeah, you buy them on top of the subscription service if you want the
Is it
best
cheaper
quality.
at least? Is it $30 versus $60?
It's
Some games are
$10.99
discounted.
plus the game. Yeah, plus the game. Yeah.
But like so for example, like some of them are, you know, the game is like Hitman is normally $60 for the bundle. On Pro it's $30, right?
Right, that's
so
what
like
I meant. Half price
so you get-
games. Yeah.
right. So they you know they get you there. The Pro, but another good point that Neo briefly just mentioned with with best quality is the free subscription doesn't get you 4K. So I think to get 4K fidelity, you need to be a pro subscriber for them, meaning you need to be giving them money each month, which I guess is no different than Amazon. They're not giving you a free model, at least not right now. So you're paying to get 4K content. You're just paying half the cost compared to Stadia.
With Amazon Prime, you're paying your monthly fee for Prime, and then if you want to rent a movie or buy a movie, you still got to buy the movie. It's a very similar process like that, right?
I hate that.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
Yeah, but Prime has a lot of benefits that aren't just limited to that. Like the nice thing about Prime is it spans all of Amazon. You get a whole bundle of features along with that subscription. Not just
they
the
also
movie
do have
access or whatever they provide for you.
Included in your Amazon Prime membership, there are a certain amount of movies that are licensed a part of the membership. So not everything is something you have to buy, but
they are starting to creep in more and more things you need to purchase.
Yeah, like you go in and you're like, oh yeah, is this movie available on Prime? You look it up on the internet and you follow a link and it says yes, and you're like, awesome. And you go in there and it's like, yeah, for $10 on Prime.
right. So this got also. What we're gonna say to you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just want to point out something like a critique with the streaming services that's not xCloud. With Stadia at launch and with Luna coming up, one of the big critiques is they're not getting these big tentpole titles that are coming out on launch for the consoles and computer the same day. Like Stadia had a hard time locking down like Doom Eternal the same launch day as the rest of the platforms. And that's honestly going to be a huge hindrance for a lot of these streaming services, because if they want to become a...
Did we lose him? He just went. He's just gone. He's frozen.
I was giving it a second, see if it would finish.
Yeah. He's just hanging on a word there.
Wait, he's back. He's back.
He came back.
So I've been actually I've been lagging out throughout this whole session and I've been staying quiet so I don't do that, but it keeps happening. So I don't know where you guys heard me last, so I don't.
It's all good.
I don't know what I was saying.
To anyone listening to our audio podcast, we are recording remotely. We just have to remind you of that at all times, that this kind of mishap can happen.
It's going to happen again.
It's happening to podcasts that are much larger than our podcast. So just let it happen.
It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I was so caught off guard by your frozen face that I honestly forgot your point.
Super fun.
I was talking about launch titles launching day and date with the rest of the other competing platforms.
Yes.
And I was saying if they want to be a viable competitor to these other platforms, then they will have to get these libraries up to par with the other consoles. Yeah,
1000%. You can't expect someone to pick your platform if they can't play the game on the same day as everybody else.
Exactly. But on the other hand, xCloud does not have this problem, because xCloud has access to Game Pass and the entire library associated with that. So they have a very good advantage on top of all these other platforms, just by that alone, just by having the Xbox branding and the Game Pass availability included with that. That is a huge strength that Luna and Stadia will have to overcome if they want to compete with Xbox, who is already a behemoth in the gaming space.
Yeah, you're right. Having access to Game Pass is huge. It certainly is. And there was some news for Game Pass recently too, right? We were just talking about that earlier with the news for,
I did. I actually had
around for iOS. So Apple essentially created a new terms and conditions as it relates to the gaming space, and has essentially allowed gaming companies, so this would be Microsoft, for example, to create an app that allows someone access to another app, which means that there could be an xCloud app, but inside of that app would only allow you to then open another app on your phone, and that other app would be the game itself. Meaning I would need to first download xCloud, and then I would need to download and install all of my games on top of that to be able to play them through xCloud.
How is that going to work when you want to play Halo on XCloud?
It's a
Like, how's
fantastic
that gonna?
question.
Oh, another thing that we talked about in the pre-show was, it seems like this is like Apple doing this weird thing where they need you to submit for like their own certification these games that they want, that let's say Xbox wants to put on their XCloud, but like I was saying beforehand, the game space already has its own certification process. It already has its own rating. So like if Apple's concern is like content of the product, which is I'm guessing one of the things that they look at when you're releasing a game on their platform or something on their platform. They're not looking at the established platform that the games use when they release the ESRB, which is very strange. And you mentioned something else earlier, Locke, where it looks like they're also doing this so they can take their cut on their store for these games as well.
Correct. So since each game is now considered an app, that means that they get to collect their 30% cut on each app. So if Felix is in Mafia and he decides to buy a fucking, taxidermy coat
made from a fox, and that would make sense because that would be connected to the goddamn collectible in the game. Fuck.
Right. So if he had a cosmetic coat he could buy, that cost
that
him,
doesn't even exist.
For $5, and he bought it through the store on iOS, Apple gets a cut. And if I do the same for Halo, Apple gets a cut, and so on and so on and so forth, because of this way that they've decided to do it. So Microsoft is not happy about this workaround that Apple has instituted. Their statement is, this remains a bad experience for customers. Gamers want to jump directly into a game from their curated catalog within one app, just like they do with movies or songs, and not be forced to download over 100 apps to play individual games from the cloud. We're committed to putting gamers at the center of everything we do, and provide a great experience is core to that mission. So I'm not sure if we will see
Xbox
them
had
launch in this way, but
about this, and they had an all hands meeting about this after this came out. And what they're working on was a direct browser solution over iOS. So if you can access XCloud via the browser on board, and then you can play it through that somehow. So they are working on a bypass solution for this. And I don't know if Apple's going to step in and be like, like that could happen somehow, like where they block access to this.
Like they did with Epic.
Man, they're blocking Epic from their store. Yeah.
How could they though? If it's through a browser? Because I mean, Safari they might have more leeway, but someone could download Chrome on iOS, access XCloud through Chrome, and then Apple's got very little that it can do to stop that. I would think. And if they do take actions to stop that, which is someone just looking at a website, I feel like that's not going to come across very well. Like that's going to backfire a lot
they're
more.
Opening a can of worms, right?
Than this is right now.
How does this also correlate with the new ability in like the Xbox app where you can like stream your games that are from home? That's not related. Are they using I figure they're using X.
That's what XCloud is, I think.
You mean like, so your Xbox is on at home,
right?
You're playing from your Xbox to your mobile?
When I'm playing from the Xbox app, are they using the cloud for that?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a feature.
Yeah,
so
that's going to be a release.
It's definitely a thing. Yeah,
that's going to be a release feature in the new Xbox app that's going to come out for iOS. That was announced somewhere, and either Microsoft.
I would imagine.
I think Microsoft announced it maybe in their event, or Apple announced it in their event. One of the events got announced.
Sony does already let you do that with all their games. You can use the Remote Play app.
Yep.
Right.
So they're bringing.
I would imagine it's using their infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured it out. By the way, I looked it up on the internet. The mystery.
You
Fox.
figured what out?
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, you figured out the mystery fox. All right, tell us after.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, not right now. Okay. So I mean, personally, like I feel like out of the three, xCloud is of course super enticing because of Game Pass, right? Having access to all of these different titles. We've already had experience with Game Pass. I feel like they're in a great position to be successful with xCloud. But I am also excited to see where Luna goes. I think their launch is going to be critical. I think Stadia is already DOA because of its poor poor launch.
You don't even hear anything about it from
no,
them anymore.
no,
they're not
it's-
even trying to push this thing marketing wise.
It's one of the things that Google will eventually just kill off. I mean, 1,000%. Just like
I'm pretty sure we said that when we talked about it originally.
yeah.
Sorry, which thing are you guys cut up
Google.
for a second? What did you?
Google will kill Stadia eventually.
Oh, do you really think so?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, it won't.
They do murder their own stuff a lot.
Yeah, they murder their stuff all the time. So it might not be right away. We might not see this for years, but it is I have no doubt that this will not be a platform that survives the test of time. We'll be on 4 more Series X's on for Xbox before they kill it, but it won't survive. To Trip's point, you don't even hear about it. I haven't seen or heard anything about Stadia since their big push for free, for the free pro, which was, I was still playing Destiny. So we're talking almost
3 months ago, 4 months ago, something.
Yeah, it was more than that. Probably it was probably closer to 6, but still, so months. I haven't heard a single thing about Stadia. I mean, they should be pushing the shit out of this platform, because it was
especially for the holiday this year,
right? And it's in a way better state than it was at launch. Like I said, I mean, I know my experience is a little bit different than others, but I don't have a bad thing to say about it. So it clearly is functional, but we still don't hear them really discussing or mentioning it. And even games that come to Stadia, I don't hear that they're coming to Stadia. Like I don't hear when a game's launching and it talks about where it's going. I never hear it say "and to Stadia." You know what I mean? Like it's not like they don't sell that they don't sell that platform themselves.
That's a huge problem. And with the upcoming launch of these consoles, this next year will be like a huge make or break for all these streaming platforms, including Stadia, if they can keep up with the launches of the next round of games we get with these new consoles, and if the experience is up to par with the new consoles. That's going to be very important too.
You're right.
So yeah,
if it can't compete as a platform with the hardware that you're buying, the hardware that's going to exist, right? To your point, why would somebody choose it when they can go get a discless PS5 or whatever the fucking cheaper Xbox is? I can't keep up with names anymore. If that what's the point? So I think the lower price point of Amazon, the fact that they have billions of dollars to probably burn certainly helps. They clearly have disposable income considering they killed their first party title game. So I think they're a company that can put the feelers out and see how it goes, and if they make some money or it blows up, good for them. And if it fails, at least they know it didn't work. But yeah, I mean we've talked about subscription services being the future. I think cloud computing and cloud is the bigger question mark. Is that the future, or are we still looking at physical devices needing to run the games that we want to play?
It all comes down to connection. I mean, we're years away from having a real true good experience, at least in terms of the power of what a home PC can do. But when we have a console standard, I think that's much more attainable, and it's probably going to be that'll be the separation. It'll be streaming services or home PC gaming. That'll be the battle, the next tier of services.
Yeah, that sounds like a good trajectory.
So the only way that PC gets beat out is if there's just immediate, instantaneous connection for anything that you do at whatever quality that you want to do, and that's going to take, I think, a different technology than what we have now for internet connection to communicate all of those things together.
Agreed. Yeah, the United States would need to change their ISP infrastructure and the way that we look at it in order for cloud gaming to really be the standard above, a 3080.
Yeah.
Or
the internet, the world's internet has to get off the literal wires they run across the bottom of the ocean in order for this to be a thing.
Oh,
when that happens,
the ones that they laid
that'll work.
pre-World War I. You talking about those?
Dude.
Yeah, those.
Did I ever
the
tell
ones
you?
the ones that fish eat and then They got to go out and fix them.
Did I ever
The
tell you
internet.
my Comcast story when I was growing up?
No.
So, really quickly, I'm gonna pull a Felix and tell you a fucking childhood memory.
By all means.
So I was having like constant problems with Comcast. We didn't have FiOS growing up. FiOS didn't exist yet, quite frankly. So it was DSL or Comcast. And of course, like, you know, little me pretending that I knew everything about technology was like the dude that had to deal with Comcast, so my mom wouldn't have to do it. And we went back and forth for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, I got them to come take a technician to come out to my house. And the connection at the house was fine. And he's like, all right, you know what? I'll go up and I'll take a look at the connection running across the telephone lines. And he comes down with this piece of wire and he strips the weather coating off of the wire. And underneath the weather coating, it was just a solid rusted piece of cabling, like completely like brown and rusted.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, this is why you don't have good internet. He's like, I don't even know how you were getting any internet through this. And I was like, how do we not know the whole block is like this? He's like, it probably is.
Yep.
Right. So like this is also like at this point almost 20 years ago. Right. And like, you know, infrastructure hasn't changed that much.
No, you don't see Comcast trucks going around like putting new wires in just for the hell of it.
No.
You don't see that.
Right. The only reason besides the fact that FiOS is a different technology is because the infrastructure is also fairly new. Right. Like places don't get it because they need to give you access to their infrastructure, right? So it's all newer on top of the fact that it's, you know, fiber optic cabling, right? But, you know, Comcast is not like, oh, let's go to this block and upgrade their cables that, you know, we installed, know, 55 years ago.
Yeah, Alexander Graham Bell's personal cable, trying to send the internet over that thing.
Right. So to your point, Trip, like, you know, this cloud gaming could never overtake what we have until we look at great internet as a basic right that we all now need to have access to because of the world that we live in. But you know, we're a long ways away from that. You know, access to free access to good internet, you know, even better access to good internet depending on how much you pay, right? Like you know, the fact that Felix is paying an arm and a leg for gigabit on Comcast and gets fucking nowhere near it, right?
Yeah.
You know,
it's about half.
Is somehow allowed.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
Somehow is allowed.
I get half.
So, yeah.
But they build a new building to prove that they have two dicks. They have two.
Well, that's where. Well, they need the second building to build the new wires.
Right. It's called It's literally called the Comcast Technology Center.
Yeah,
I was like,
you don't have good. You
don't have good fucking technology, and you're gonna call a fucking building technology center.
Well, they have to make millions of feet of wire.
It's a lot of wires to make.
They needed a whole building to just keep.
It's the wire.
It's a mono.
It was up the top of the building and back down and back and top and again. It's the inside is just loops of wire.
Call
it from that on the trucks, and they drive around the United States and lay all this new wire down.
It's a monolith to fucking man's hubris.
That's their plan.
That's their fucking plan. It's so bad. Comcast is so fucking bad.
Just awful.
Yeah, it truly is. And being at the epicenter of it does not fucking help either. But I would agree to your earlier point as well, Trip, that we will get to a point where it will be, you know, the service title, the standard is a Game Pass style subscription. Like we're not looking at buying individual games anymore. It might be a fringe case. Maybe certain games come up to be able to purchase, like more like tentpole games. Like maybe you could still buy Cyberpunk if you really wanted to, like the Cyberpunk Deluxe Edition or something. But it would be more so that, like, you know,
home ownership edition where you actually get the download, something like that.
Right. But where, you know, Game Pass becomes the norm. And becomes the standard for all of us, especially when it's looped into a package like Game Pass Ultimate. You know, that style.
If it keeps saying the value that it is, then it's going to succeed for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
Hands down.
And right now, like I said, Microsoft's got to be operating at a loss. So if they can keep operating at a loss to continue to give gamers like good a good UI, a good experience, and they keep getting subscribers, by all means, keep doing it.
Look what all of their actions, like the past like 3 or 4 years, have been. We're buying every studio we can possibly buy. We're just going to buy up as many as possible, and we're going to put as many games as we can on our service. They are literally positioning themselves to be like this behemoth of like a game provider, like the Netflix, like the Netflix of games.
Yeah,
the one that everyone thinks of when you say, like, Xbox. Oh, that's the Game Pass people. Like, I don't know. Like, you see,
sure.
where I'm going.
I know what you mean,
that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's insane. They're what they're doing.
Yeah, not to toot our own horns, but like we called it. We called it back then, because it made sense to us back then, and it makes sense now. Like this is the move, and they were early on adopters of it. So
the one thing that doesn't make sense of Xbox's moves was what they did with Mixer. That is the one thing that I don't understand. And not just closing it down, but months earlier they bought they bought those streamers, right? Like they had major streamers signed contracts onto their platform. That's why I was like very shocked about Mixer. And I thought this console generation would have had very good integration with Mixer, and they would have
they were set up for a home
in a
run
really serious way
with all that stuff, for sure. They didn't put any money into it at all ever, besides buying individuals,
right?
At least not at the rate that they should have been to make it competitive in the space. But the reach they have, Microsoft, they could have put that right on the shelf with any other streaming service and even made it a better option than Twitch, than Facebook. No one wants to use Facebook because of like all the data mining and like the integration weirdly with like their VR stuff, like that would have fallen off at a certain point. So it's between Twitch and YouTube, and then Mixer could have been the thing. They could have creeped up to third. Then who knows? Something goes wrong with Twitch, and then it's them and YouTube. Like it could have been done. Easily could have been done. They just didn't develop the people that worked there. They didn't believe in them to make new features for the platform, to make people want to come to the platform or even have a good experience being on the platform when there were already these behemoths in streaming that people were comparing them to.
Yeah, it was almost like, the person that made the decision to buy it, like bought it, and then like 6 months later left the company, and the new guy was like, fuck, this was such a dumb decision.
Yeah, why didn't we need this shit?
And he just was like, all right, well, we'll keep going and run this shit into the ground. And then finally, and that's just honestly what it seems like it was.
Honestly,
right? Like,
honestly, you're not far off. A lot of stories that came out were like about the Mixer team were like, they were just like riding. They didn't have any like set goals in mind. They didn't have like a plan or any kind of, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have any sort of like goal in mind when they were running the ship.
A lot of them heard about the shutdown the day of too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Right. So to earlier point, Felix, Stadia shuts down. You're getting no notice. All those games you bought, gone. Don't own them.
Gone.
Don't own that shit. Right.
That's why I'm more comfortable in the modern era. I'm more comfortable with the concept of paying for access as opposed to buying individual digital titles. I'm more comfortable with going, I pay you a service fee, you guarantee it's there, right? Unless it goes away. But I don't lose anything when it goes away because I never owned it anyway.
And you haven't invested that much to play that.
Right. To any one of these service subscriptions, right, for Game Pass, like you play one game a month realistically, and you've made your money, right? Or you play a few games that you play partly of, and you've made your money, right? Same thing with music. You listen to a few albums, you watch a few TV shows, you watch a few movies. You've paid for that month's subscription. It makes too much sense.
My obsession with video game soundtracks was the reason I went with Apple Music, or paying for any streaming service. It really didn't matter because I realized that I was spending, if it's $10 an album, that's $120 a year, right? And I was spending more than $120 a year on like video game soundtrack albums for Assassin's Creed alone. Like the shit was. I just realized I had spent more, and I said, okay, I'm gonna by gaining access to 6 million songs, I'm gonna get more, and I'm never gonna lose anything. Like we used to carry from building to building. Like I moved like 20 times before the age of 30. Or some crazy shit like that. I'm talking about in and out, not to 20 different locations. But like I moved 20 times over the course of this time period, and every time I'm bringing this like case full of shit, like CDs or
CDs and records and
all
whatever
that crap,
DVDs,
because we were trained that we needed to possess things, that we need to own them. We were trained for commercialism, trained us that we have to own things and be the possessor of it, all throughout the 50s, 60s, 70s, or whatever, when you're collecting records and albums and tapes and CDs and all that shit. And then this comes along, Napster comes along first, and we get it all for free. And they're like, fuck that. You're not getting that shit for free. Don't even think you're getting any of that shit for free. And then that's when they started suing fucking kids. They were like, we're going to sue kids. We're going to send their parents a check for $15,000 or a bill for $15,000 saying your kid stole these artists' songs. And
dude, my name was absolutely on that big, huge printed out list of usernames that Lars Ulrich from Metallica slapped down in front of Congress. I got a message in Napster one day, like, you are no longer allowed to access the service.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
damn,
sorry.
Ooh, dude, Napster was the shit.
Yeah,
right.
We all went to Kazaa for that anyway, so it's fine. But
Man.
yeah, we all. I remember.
But
yeah, dude, it's
then they realized that we can't just sue kids. We got to figure this shit out. And that's when they brought fucking LimeWire down. That's when they fucking sued.
Oh man, I fucking
fuck out of LimeWire.
I gave my computer so many viruses. Yeah, I didn't give a shit. BearShare was also pretty dope too. I used BearShare for a while.
But then Apple came along and they came out with Apple Music. Spotify did their service and everything like that. And now, by paying that service fee, you get access to 6 million songs. The concept of loss doesn't exist anymore. As long as those services keep up their side of the bargain and keep the thing going, it's like,
gotta pay that electricity bill.
I don't want to do this for anything. I don't want to buy individual shit and possess individual shit anymore. I want to do this for movies. I want to do it for TV. I want to do it for fucking video games. I want to pay you the service fee and you ensure that the shit is there.
You don't want the shelf anymore, dude. You want the
tired
shelf to
of
be
the
gone.
shelf. The shelf was heavy carrying that from fucking 20 different apartments.
Dude. Yeah, especially when you have the same game on 4 different generations of fucking
fuck that
console.
too. Yeah, that sucks.
It adds up. Those ounces add up.
All those fucking versions of Skyrim on GTA will fucking do it to you,
How about
dude.
gaining access one motherfucking time and then signing in with your account to get it to all the different fucking places? How about that?
Yeah, dude, I get it. Dude, I watched we're kind of trailing at this point. So I'm gonna leave it here. And then we're gonna bring it out. I literally watched my first piece of physical media, like my first DVD in years the other day. And it was like such a fucking, like, it's crazy to me that like putting in a DVD. So I put in the DVD and it was the kind of DVD where you needed to flip it halfway through.
What the fuck one was that? That's early DVDs.
No, I remember
That's
those.
not even late DVDs.
In the middle of what you're watching?
Yeah.
Yes.
When they
dude.
first came out, that's how it worked.
Here's my experience really quickly. This is a lot of lock experiences.
A lot of lock
interesting.
anecdotes. This is an anecdotal lock episode.
So my wife and I wanted to watch Goodfellas because we hadn't watched Goodfellas in a long time, and I'm a huge fan of that movie.
Because it's a long movie, yeah.
Yeah, so we came down to it does not exist on any streaming platform right now. So it was either
you can buy it. You can buy it.
Yeah. You couldn't rent it from iTunes. You can only buy it. And I was like, well,
that's weird.
I'm not buying it because I know it's in this drawer right underneath my TV. So we're either gonna
I would have bought it.
We're either,
I did buy it.
Exactly. See, this is what I get you.
I have it on the shelf to my left, and I bought it.
Right. I was like, we're either going to open this up, and I'm going to turn on my PS4, and we're going to watch it, or we're going to pick something else out. So we decide to watch it on the PS4. I was like, dope. Open up the DVD box. I was like, oh, this is the throwback. Put the DVD in, and a scene starts.
That classic feel.
A fucking scene starts playing. And I thought it was just like some quirky like scene, and then we're gonna get like the menu, right? So I let it go, and it's like 3 minutes in, and I'm like, this ain't fucking right. I try it on the PlayStation, not remembering the controls. I'm like trying to find the fucking menu button on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
nothing's working. So I was like, wait, is this the type that you need to flip? So I take the DVD out, I flip it around, I put it in, and boom, Goodfellas menu pops up, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I haven't watched this specific DVD in forever. And then I don't even remember having to flip DVDs. I remember having to getting Casino on VHS. Casino on VHS used to be like 2 or 3 tapes.
Yeah.
I remember having to do that.
Yeah. Titanic was sold with 2 tapes.
Yeah, I don't remember having to do that for DVDs, but that was the experience. So then when I got to that scene in Goodfellas, the movie just fucking ended. No prompt. Just fucking went to black, and then I needed to walk up to my PS4, flip the disc around, and put it in, and then it just continued the movie.
Lock, the first DVD I think I ever bought was that type of DVD because I bought.
It's old.
I bought pretty
It's
early.
fucking old.
And the DVD was Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. You would get halfway through it and have to flip it. Yep, it's very weird.
Yeah. So, yeah, fucking wild, dude. And no, I still have a bunch of I don't have nearly as much as you, but that's the first time that I went back and actually used the physical media that I once, that I own to watch a piece of content.
Dude, I used to love buying DVDs.
It was the greatest
love
feeling.
them.
Yeah,
love them.
dude.
Watch every single extra. Like that was my hang up before digital movies. I was like, well, I'm not going to get all the cool shit that I get when I buy a DVD. But then you do now.
You do.
So it's
Hey,
like,
hey,
well,
Trip
supposed
Zero.
to be that shit across the room.
Trip Zero. You know what?
Right.
You know what
needs that
feels
shit now?
it feels just as good as acquiring media and getting it into your possession. Making a list in like Netflix. Oh, it feels so good. I gotta make my Netflix list. I gotta add this to my Netflix list. It's like the same collecting like broken part of your brain where you just gotta collect shit. It's amazing. I do it in all the services. I make a list of the things that are mine, things I want.
You call it the shelf.
Yeah, it's like my shelf,
The V
my
shelf.
digital shelf, my virtual shelf. Yeah, exactly. But I actually I'm gonna take. I don't know when I'm gonna do it. Obviously, eventually, but probably not. I actually
when I'm gonna do it.
I'm thinking,
Maybe someday.
So
Probably not.
There's,
Anyway,
there's this app,
What an intro.
this sales app. It's called Mercardi or Mercadi. I just learned about it from Trab. It's called. I'll tell you what it is. It's called Mercari. But it's like take a picture of a thing and then put it in Mercari. And there's a lot of apps.
I've used Mercari to sell old tech and stuff.
I'm thinking about doing. I'm gonna itemize. I'm gonna see if I can itemize and for like fairly affordable prices. But because there's so many of them, I'm gonna try and do my DVDs in there. I want to see what happens. My DVDs.
Dude, that'll work.
DVDs and Blu-rays, and just put them in there and ship them out and get money for them.
Yeah.
Do it, dude.
I'm gonna
Do it up, man.
Yeah.
Do it. Get rid of some of the clutter, man. Get rid of some of the shelf.
No, I have.
Give the shelf a break, man. It's been holding up all that weight for a long time.
I have.
Yeah, it's buckling.
I have an acceptable library now of digital content that I don't think I need. I'm ready to let go.
Keep the Saboteur though. You can't really find that on digital.
No, I'm not getting rid of the games. I'm not talking about games.
You're not getting rid of Saboteur, dude. Don't be.
I'm not getting rid of the Saboteur ever. I can't because it's the only thing. It's never coming back.
It's never coming back.
That's it.
Well, thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, we appreciate you. Make sure to follow us on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube. Right. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast if you don't already do so.
Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
We greatly appreciate that. And we would also really appreciate any reviews. If you feel the need, if you're new to the podcast and you'd like to leave a review in any of those places, that would be sweet. We would love to see that. So please do us that favor. We would greatly appreciate it. You can find me personally on Twitter at @lock_key. Follow me there. Trip.
What's up, guys? I am Trip Zero. You guys can find me on Twitch, Trip Zero TV. I stream there on my channel Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We go 7 to 11 to 12-ish roughly. And now we're in Destiny prep mode, so I'm still doing my Watch Dogs 2 playthrough, which is a lot of fun. And we're going to go into Legion when that releases. But then we split the stream and then do Destiny prep afterwards for the wind down. So it's a good time. And that's what we'll be doing through Beyond Light launch on the 10th. And then when we live in Cyberpunk 2077 a week after that. So
God, I'm so excited.
So excited, dude. And all my socials are the same. Very easy to find.
So excited.
Neo.
I'm Neo Yoshi. You can follow me at Neo_Yoshi on Twitter, twitch.tv/NeoYoshi on Twitch. I'm playing all kinds of games right now. A lot of Warzone, a little bit of Valorant's coming back, so that's pretty cool. I too am prepping for the Cyberpunk. I'm ready, man. I got that 3080. I'm ready to jump in that bad boy and just live in that world. I also have Watch Dogs Legion from purchasing the 3080. So that is a game with RTX that I can also enjoy, that'll be pretty fun to check out. See
Hell
how
yeah.
that goes. So yeah, stay tuned there. You can see all the antics that I get up to.
Nice.
Felix.
Yeah, this is Felix Hergood. I'm Felix Hergood altogether on Twitch and Felix Hergood altogether on Twitter. So you can check me on both of those. I don't know when I'm going to stream again. It's been a while. I haven't streamed since fucking June. So it's been a long time because of my work schedule. But I may come back. I'm thinking maybe a night schedule. I'm going to try and figure out how to do night and be a competent human during that time period. But that might come back. There might be a night schedule. I'm a real piece of shit, guys, because I just figured out why the foxes are in that goddamn game. It's because the logo of Hangar 13, the developer, is a fox.
That makes sense.
Got it. It's meta. That's meta.
It's a fox with like an eye patch. I mean, the little stupid statues in the game don't have the eye patch, so I never would have guessed that. But I looked it up. That's got to be the reason. They're called mystery foxes because the goddamn logo of Hangar 13 is a fox. So I apologize to the developers of Hangar 13. I was a dickhead again.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. Yeah.
Maybe we'll see what happens on episode 273 of the Emergent Gamer podcast.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
All right. See you guys.
Later.